In the last 10 minutes, UNSC fails to adopt Kuwait-drafted statement on Gaza situation. Turkey, opposition CHP leader condemns massacre in Gaza. Jerusalem and Gaza, a world apart. Israeli army shoots dead dozens in Gaza in bloodiest day since 2014. Show them that we are dying. Violent protests as U.S. Embassy opens. Dozens killed in Gaza as U.S. moves embassy to Jerusalem in the last half hour. Israel to reopen Gaza crossing after rioters burn it for third time. South Africa withdraws its ambassador to Israel. I helped start the Gaza protests. I don't regret it. Turkish president condemns humanitarian tragedy in Gaza. Gaza border becomes killing field as U.S. opens embassy in Jerusalem. Israel's celebration in Jerusalem is marred by deadly violence in Gaza. These statistics show why Gazans are risking their lives to protest Israel. Video, Abbas condemns Israeli massacres after Gaza violence in the last hour. Quick takes, Trump decision to move U.S. embassy sparks violence. Netanyahu spokesman David Keyes discusses Jerusalem and Gaza. Gaza, 58 die and thousands hurt as U.S. embassy opens. Israelis kill 41 Palestinians protesting U.S. embassy move. The Trump administration's despicable response to the Gaza massacre. Turkey recalls Israeli, American envoys. Video, speeches in Jerusalem, gunfire in Gaza. 2 scenes, 40 miles apart. 7 journalists injured by gunfire in Gaza. Protests, speeches in Jerusalem, gunfire in Gaza. 2 scenes, 40 miles apart. Crikey worm, dozens of Palestinians killed. Francis Macron condemns Gaza violence to call Israeli PM Tuesday. Photos, U.S. Jerusalem embassy opening in Gaza. Border protests. Africa withdraws ambassador to Israel over Israeli attack in Gaza Strip. Gaza activist, Israel's massacres won't stop our struggle in the last 2 hours. MSNBC's Katie Tur mistakes fireworks in Jerusalem for shelling. Israeli group looks to bring peace back into agenda. Israeli forces kill 55 Palestinians as U.S. opens Jerusalem embassy. Gaza, avoid further bloodshed. UN chief urges Gaza, excessive force abhorrent international law violation. Israel kills dozens in Gaza as Jared Kushner speaks of peace. White House calls deaths in Gaza propaganda by Hamas. Israel and Palestine just slid further away from the possibility of peace as U.S. embassy opens in Jerusalem. Dozens killed in Gaza. Israeli Air Force strikes Hamas targets on day of bloody protest in Gaza. Fury, resignation, silence in region as U.S. opens Jerusalem embassy clouded by smoke and tear gas. A view from deadly Gaza protests. U.S. opens embassy in Jerusalem amid massive deadly protests in Gaza. Israeli violence in Gaza sparks international condemnation. French press condemns Israeli army violence in Gaza. The latest, Israel to reopen Gaza's main cargo crossing. The latest, Turkey recalls envoy to U.S. over embassy move. U.S. embassy moves to Jerusalem. Dozens killed in Gaza protests. Turkey recalls ambassadors to U.S. Israel over embassy move. All we in Gaza want is that Israel recognize our humanity. 55 dead in Gaza protests as U.S. embassy opens in Jerusalem. Celebration in Jerusalem. Bloodshed in Gaza. Palestinians struggle to preserve memories in younger generation. World slams disproportionate force in Gaza as IDF kills dozens of Gazans. Turkey recalls U.S. Israeli ambassadors after Palestinian deaths in Gaza. Gaza violence sparks diplomatic crisis. Turkey calls meeting of Islamic body after Palestinians killed in Gaza. NBC reporter asks White House if Israel can just kill at will. In Jerusalem, an embassy opens. Gaza, at least 55 die. Erdogan accuses Israel of genocide after Palestinian deaths. White House blames Hamas over 55 Palestinians killed by Israeli troops. Gaza killings are on Trump. Israel defends actions after 55 Palestinians killed in embassy protest in the last 4 hours. Erdogan accuses Israel of genocide over Gaza deaths. Israel's blockade underpins the violence in Gaza. At least 55 killed in Gaza as U.S. embassy opens in Jerusalem. Thousands rally in Istanbul in solidarity with Palestinians. Tension across Gaza, Mid-East. What we know. U.S. opens embassy in Jerusalem. Dozens killed in Gaza protests. UK calls on Israel to show restraint after Gaza border deaths. South Africa recalls ambassador to Israel over deaths on Gaza border.